YouTube, it's Louise, the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, whatever it is you're doing, and wherever it is you're doing it. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Something like that. Hello, how are you? Welcome YouTube, to the first Tuesday knit group. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see so many of you here. It is in fact just me sat in my lounge, but I'm imagining that there's lots of people coming in right at this moment and getting themselves comfy. The kettle has just boiled. You are welcome to go and get yourself a hot drink. Mugs are on the side. Tea is on the side. Coffee's in the cupboard. There are biscuits in the kitchen. Help yourself. Not homemade. I didn't have time to do that, but I will do it next time. Get yourself a seat. Move the cat if necessary. Budge up the cat to get yourself a seat over there, and let's get to it. Let's just sit back and have a nice chin wag. Yeah. So hello. I have been videoing myself talking about yarn stuff for about 14 months, maybe a bit longer than that. I started to talk about it because I was doing a weekly vlog when I was on holiday, and I'd taken along some knitting, which, spoiler alert, I completely frogged in the end because I made it way too big. I did do a swatch. I had the wrong wool for the wrong yarn for the project, and it was just a nightmare. So let's not focus on that bit. Let's focus on the comment somebody left saying, have you looked at the knitting and crochet podcasts that are on YouTube? You might be quite interested in those, and boy were they right. So I had a good old mooch around the YouTubes, and I found all the people that you find when you go mooching, and then they mention somebody else, and so you watch theirs. And before I knew it, I was deep into a new obsession, which was knitting and crochet podcasts, finding myself captivated and inspired, and I loved them. It was like a door had been opened to this room full of people sitting and chatting, showing their wool, being welcoming, it just literally like I stumbled past. I was walking along. Imagine this is what happened. I walked along and I saw a door open, and all I could see in there was people sitting around chatting about wool and yarn and merino and cotton and linen and flax and nettle and all these fantastic things. They're talking about indie dyers. There was an indie dyer, and they were showing these glorious kind of artwork in the form of yarn, and they were talking about the clothes that they knitted and how they altered it for themselves, and the passion and the excitement, and it was wonderful. So just as I experienced it when I found out about booktube on YouTube, I sat and watched them for a while, and then I thought, no, I'm going to have to join in. This looks amazing. I sidled into the room and sat at the back with my knitting, all my crochet, and put up a little video called Yarn Chat. And there's some very nice people that watch my booktube videos, started to watch it, and said, carry on. I like this. And they came and sat next to me, and they got their knitting out and their crochet out, and before you know it, there was a lovely little group of us sat here talking about it. But I found it difficult to get comfortable with the format. This is exactly what had happened with booktube. So I started, for those that, the idea about this video, I'll set it up now. The idea about this video is it's as though you're coming around my house. So it ain't going to be fancy. Let's just say that straight away. Okay, for me to be able to do a video on a regular basis, it can't be too much hard work. It's got to be enjoyable. We've all got to enjoy it. And that includes me. And that includes the cats. No, but it includes me mainly. So we've just got to kind of Just imagine you knocked on the door and you came in and we just sat chatting, and that's what this is going to be. So I'm going to be doing my knitting or my crochet that I'm working on at the moment, and you will bring yours along, and we'll just have we'll have a chat. These are going to be longer videos than my booktube videos, so if you're not keen on a longer video, there will be other videos that would suit you, but this isn't going to be the one. This is not going to be a video that you're going to like, because this is a chatty video. This is you're sat next to me. You've got a cup of tea in your hands, or a cup of coffee, or a glass of water, or a glass of wine, whatever it is, and we're just gonna have a natter about things. I will show stuff. Oh yes, as though you were here. So what happened with booktube was I watched all these videos. I don't know whether I've actually ever said about how I started in booktube. I started in booktube because I was going to a real life book group, and we were reading. Do you know, I can see the cover of it and I can't remember the name of it. Oh, I got it over there. I think I've got rid of it. I can't remember. We were reading a book, and it was literary fiction, and it was fine. And I wondered, it was about the week before I was going to go to the book group, and I had a look on Tinternet to see what other people had thought about it before the reviews, because I was really mixed. I knew that some people were going to love it and some people were going to hate it, and I was very much in the middle. And so I looked, and this YouTube video came up with somebody talking about it, and I was like, hello? What? And so I watched it, and then they mentioned these other things, and then I was like, what? And they mentioned this thing called booktube, and it was all these videos on YouTube under the banner of booktube, where they talked about what they were reading and stuff like that. And honestly, it was as though a cathedral, never mind a door just opening, it was like kind of a stadium opened up in front of me. There was My Greatest Passion books being talked about by people, all sorts of people. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. And so I started doing the videos. Again, I sidled in at the back and put up a little video, and before I know it, I had somebody come and sit next to me and say, oh, I'm quite interested in this. And there we were, we started chatting, and more videos and more videos. But I found with booktube, which is what most people find, is that after a while it's quite restrictive, but quite formulaic. Not restrictive, it's formulaic. And there are videos that you're supposed to do, and after a couple of years of it, I didn't want to do those videos anymore. I wanted to do different types, and I didn't want to leave YouTube altogether just because I didn't want to do the normal booktube. So I found last year, towards the end of last year, a format that works for me, which is I do a weekly video on a Friday called Friday Reads, where I talk for between 10 and 20 minutes ideally, and I tell you the books that I've been reading and have a bit of a chat about life, and people seem to like it, and it's enjoyable to make. It's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to making Friday Reads. When I sit down to make it, I never go, oof, it's Friday Reads. I go, yay, it's Friday Reads. And I really like it. And I want to feel the same about my yarn videos. So I had been doing a series called Yarn Chats, and I just, you know, it was too formulaic. I had been very much doing the Knitting and Stitching podcast rules. There aren't any rules, but we do like to follow a crowd, don't we? And so I did what was expected. Sorry, you're going to have to wait 2 seconds because I've got to yarn two together through the back loop. There we go. Which is a decreasing stitch, and I just needed to do that. So it's done now. I can carry on. I shall show you what I'm knitting on in a minute. So yes, what you normally do is you do finished objects, i.e. things that you've completed since the last time the video's done. You do works in progress, which is your current stuff, current obsessions. And then either a bit of a chat about a new pattern or what you've bought recently, and then you talk about your life. That's how it seemed to be to me. Oh, do you know, just too formulaic to me. I just got to the point where I was not making them because either I had too much stuff to show, or I didn't have enough stuff to show, or it just was too much hard work. So I thought, stop it. You really enjoy making them. You really love the chat that goes along with it. Let me get my cup of tea, excuse me. Why not find a way that suits you? So this is what it is. This is, friends, what it is. It's going to be as though you've just come round. Tomorrow, my friend's coming round and she's going to bring her crochet, hopefully, and we're going to sit in here and we're going to chat. She's going to tell me about stuff that's been going on with her life, which I'm very interested in. She's got one daughter at university, and she's got one daughter who is in her final year of her A-levels and going off to do university, and they are bright as a button. My word, they're a smart family. So it's just lovely to hear. She's lovely as well. I actually met her through the book group that I was talking about, which I no longer go to, but I still see her. So she's coming tomorrow, and we will sit, and then I'm going to make a bit of lunch, and then she'll go home, and it will just be lovely. And I thought, that's really what I want. I want somebody to come round. I want you to come round. I want you to come round here and come and talk to me while I sit on my sofa and do my knitting. And I'll show you what I've been doing, and you can show me what you've been doing, if that's okay. I'll show you mine if you can show me yours. That's the way we do it. And I just thought I'd make it a lot more casual, a lot more you and me. If that's not the kind of thing that you're into, if you like the formulaic stuff, if you like to know what you're going to get, I can completely understand that, and I wish you well as you leave. But if that does sound like something you'd be interested in, that would be marvellous. Cat's just walked in. So here we go. Let me show you what I have been working on. Oh, and I thought I'd just call it Tuesday Knit Group. Tuesday Knit Club? Tuesday Knit Group. Can't remember what I said when I started. Any one of those. Tuesday Knit Group. Tuesday Knit Club. I think we should be a club. A club that is open to all. Anybody's welcome. There is no membership. No membership rules whatsoever. Politeness. I think that's probably the only thing. Bit of love, bit of politeness in the world. You don't even need to knit or crochet or anything like that. You can bring on your stuff. Do not jump on table. Cat. So Miss Sally. I have 3 cats. I have Miss Sally, Miss Molly, and Indy. Miss Sally and Miss Molly are sisters. Aren't you? Yeah. Coming up to 7 years old now. Miss Sally looks like she wants to come up here. Do you want to come up here? Miss Sally and Miss Molly are tuxedo cats, which means they're black and white. Oh. Would you like to see yourself? I'm going to move you. Here we go. There she is. This is Sally. Now, I had that at a really good angle, because I want you to be able to see my knitting as well. Miss Molly's upstairs. I think Indy's gone out. We had to do a mummy and Indy road trip this morning. Had to go to the vets to have his booster. He howled all the way there, but he's done and he's fine. Panic over. Yes. So with Friday Reads, that was one of those names that I just kind of came up with at the drop of a hat, and thought, oh yeah, that works. Do you know, this is a really bad idea to stop and show you it at this point. Never mind. And I was trying to think of a similar word for this, a similar name for this, and I just thought, do you remember the Sheryl Crow album? There was a Sheryl Crow album, something like Tuesday. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, great day with my memory. I really liked that, and I just thought, we'll be the Tuesday Knit Club. Anyway, I'm coming close to show you my knitting. So this is what I'm working on at the moment. I'm working on it flat, which means I'm going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. I'm not knitting in the round, which is where you do either a knit or a purl stitch continuously, or you do a pattern. So I'm doing that. This is the colour. It's kind of deeper greens. That's a good colour. There we go. There we go. Got it. It's greens with some lighter tones, and then little kind of flecks of kind of a dullish pink, not a bright pink. That's a really good representation of it. It's lovely. It's called Pigeon Fancier, and it's from Amy at Stranded Dye Works, who has such a good podcast, and she was one of the first podcasts I ever watched. Let me show you the ball band. Here we go. I don't have a fancy camera. So you get what you get, I'm afraid. So there we are. Stranded Dye Works. This is the Paradise base. And it's 80-10-10 merino nylon cashmere. So it's very soft. It's called Pigeon Fancier. So this is an indie dyer's. Amy is an indie dyer. She's an independent lady. This is half that I've done already. Can you tell her what it is yet? I've got a hair on me. It's like, I always say that. So yes, it is a vest top. It's what I've always known as a tank top, but I believe in other parts of the world they call them sweater vests. It's a tank top, basically. Sleeveless pullover. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this. Let me show you what it looks like. I will eventually look like this lady. I'm going to go and find myself a riverbank that's got pebbles, and I'm going to go down on one knee and stare bemusedly at something. A duck, probably, walking past. They are odd pictures, aren't they? Always. But anyway, that's what it is. It doesn't have a name. It has a number. 8297. So this was, when I first started knitting again, I wanted to make something. Do you know, it was one of those odd things. I made quite a lot of mug cozies, you know, the little things that go around your mugs. I made quite a few of those, and I thought, no, I'm going to make myself a top. Hello, Sash, come back in. And this is the top. I'm going to make myself a sleeveless pullover, because I like layering. Yes. So I thought, right, I'm going to make myself one. So I got this. I had no idea what 4-ply was. I had no idea that Life was a type of style craft yarn that this was designed for. None of that. I had no idea whether I could make it or not, but I just thought, oh, I'll have a go. Blind leading the blind, mainly kind of knit and purl stitches with a bit of, you know, to do the body and then a bit of ribbing. Thought I could do that. So I merrily went off and bought something that said 4-ply, and it was completely the wrong kind of wool for yarn for the pattern. Had no give in it whatsoever, and so I merrily made it completely the wrong size. Never did a swatch. Swatch? What's that? So I never did a swatch. Made it absolutely fine. Didn't fit. I mean, it would have fit me when I was 12. I was like, oh. But I enjoyed the process. In fact, I'm sure I've still got it upstairs somewhere, because I've kept it because it's like my first garment that I made when I was an adult, and I just thought, oh, you know, I'll keep it. Actually, I don't know why I'll keep it, but I'll keep it. I too will look like this, I thought. This in my head. I really thought I don't know why I thought it, that I would be able to knit at that. I don't know. It's one of those things. I have a real issue with sizing. I have an issue with getting my size right. I normally go big. I think this is the only garment I've actually made that's gone small, but I normally go way too big. It's like I have, the size I am, I add about 1.5 stone, always. So I'm wearing a cardigan, which I knitted like last year and a bit. And this is the Mix and Match cardigan by Mina Phillips. And it is too big. I wanted it I wanted it to be quite big, but it's too big. It's oversized, and so I can't wear it just over a t-shirt. I need to wear it over like a jumper. So this is a jumper. God, I wish I'd knit this. No, I didn't. I bought this. So I always have to wear it over something. It's kind of like my kind of house cardigan. But I like that. I do like layering. So my idea is that I lay. So I knit this completely, but I love the process, and so I've always kept it. And I wanted to make something again that wasn't going to take me ages to knit, and I just fancied it, and I fancied a nice tank top. And I had three skeins of this wool. So I was like, right, I am going to, this gorgeous wool. Oh, it's so soft. Oh, look at everyone's earrings. No. So yeah, so I thought I shall do this. So I happily doing it. It's not taking me too long. It's very enjoyable. It's easy because it's mainly knitting. It's knitting and purling, and I don't mind knitting and purling. There we are. Unfortunately, I think it's still going to be big, but luckily I've made it as a layering piece. I'm not sure. I'm almost knitting it to see whether it's going to be big or not. I think it will be. I think it will be. Looking at that, it's going to be huge on me. It's going to be huge on me, isn't it? Oh, but I do want it as a large piece to go over. Oh, I may well have done this too big, but it will be fine. It will be fine, and it's thoroughly enjoyable to do. What am I doing? Still knitting. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm using my higher sharps interchangeables. I'm a tight knitter, which means that my gauge is tight. So in knitting patterns like this, they give you a suggested tension, which is up here, and I am always too tight. So that means I have too many stitches per inch. That's what too tight means. Too loose means you don't have enough stitches. So if you were to do it, so if they say cast on 100 stitches, mine will be too small because my gauge will be my tension's too tight. Whereas if you have a loose gauge and they say cast on 100 stitches, yours will be too big. So what you do to address that is normally teaching you, saying this like you don't know, but I'm sure you do, but just in case you don't, what you would normally do, let me put this in, there we go. What you would normally do is you change your needle size. So if you're too tight, you go up a needle size because that makes each stitch bigger. So you'd go up. So as I'm a tight knitter, I've gone up. So it says that I should be using 3.25 for the body, and I'm using 3.75 for the body. So I have gone up a full 2 sizes because I am that tight a knitter. And I think that's possibly because of the style of knitting I do. So I do English knitting. Can I show you this? People always find knitting quite fascinating. So I do English knitting, which means I throw. So I control the yarn in my right hand. I don't know why I waved at you. No. So I control the yarn in my right hand. And I throw, which means I take my hand off the needle to move the yarn. Yeah. So that's a English style knitting. And the reason I do it like that is because I was taught like that. I was taught by my mum, and it's funny because my mum was left-handed and she had a really unusual knitting style, but between the two of us, this is how I managed to get. And so if I was to knit continental, I would hold the yarn in my left hand, and I would flick. Now you can teach yourself to change, and you can also teach yourself to flick, but I can't, and that would, but the thing is, if you do that mid project, your tension would change and your stitches would look weird. So I'm not going to do that. Also, I'm quite happy with my knitting style. As far as I'm concerned, it suits me. I'm comfortable doing it, and I'm not a knitter for, professional reasons. I'm not a professional knitter. That would be one thing, because then if you do continental and if you do flicking, I think you're quicker. I think. I don't know. I've not timed myself. Maybe I should. Some people do. Lordy. Yeah. So, and I also think you don't have to focus so much. So as you can see, as I'm knitting, I keep looking down. Whereas some people can knit and not look at their work whatsoever. I find I do make mistakes if I do that. I can do kind of majority of the time I can be looking around, and I can quite happily have a conversation with somebody, as I am with you now. But I almost like keep an eye on what I'm doing all the time. But then I quite like that. Anyway, that's my current, the main thing I'm working on. But I have got some other things. That's my main thing. So I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. What have I got to do? I am just decreasing at the moment for the armpits, for the armholes. I've had to add a couple of stitches because I'm tall. That's never long enough. So you do like that. It doesn't look that big. And my busticles. Like that. They have got, if you look at the pattern, there is ribbing that goes along the sides. So here and here. I'm going to narrow it down. And the bottom had loads of ribbing. And I have no waist, so I don't want to emphasise that with a lot of ribbing. Don't really want to do that. So there we go. That's what so at the moment I'm decreasing, and then I shall be putting the middle sections on a spare piece of yarn, and then working the two. That. Then I believe I join it, I seam it, and then I do the neckline, and then I do the armholes. I think that's what I've got to do. So I'll carry on working on that in a minute. Do you want another drink, or are you all right? You see, this is it, you see. Already, I've talked for half an hour. Or rather, we've talked for half an hour. So, I have a little sorry tale. I have a tale to tell, and it's not a happy tale. I bought myself the without the yarn, but the kit for this particular pattern. There it is, the Sinister Catagon. And I thought I would make myself that. And you know where I'm going with this if you've heard me just talk about my sizing issues. Now, normally I like things big. Oh, it makes me sad getting this out. Do you know what I'm going to say? I did brilliantly. I worked on this. I loved working on it. But it's too big. This is how far I got. And it's enormous. It's enormous. Oh, I'm so sad. Sad face. This hasn't been blocked. This is pre-blocking. And when you block something, I'm explaining terms, not because I don't think you understand them, so that you know what I mean by them, because I think sometimes people mean different things. And also, in case there's anybody that's come from booktube and doesn't craft, you are welcome. Yes. But you might go, what the hell's that? So blocking is when you finished a piece of work, it's crumpled and the yarn might have oil on it, or it kind of, what you do is you soak it and pin it out, and it kind of relaxes it's like massaging your wool piece, and it flattens it, because you can't iron it because you felt it and make a whole big mess. So what you can't do is iron it. So what you do is you soak it and then pin it out, and it transforms it. It transforms what looks horrible. It could transform. But what it does tend to do with certain wools certain yarns, is they grow. So with this particular yarn, it will grow a little, and it's already huge. So what I decided, did you do a swatch, Louise? Yes. And by swatch, I did a test square to check what my tension was and what needle size I needed to get to what was the tension that was mentioned in the pattern. So I did that, and I got my needles and all was good. I decided what size I wanted, and this is where I went wrong. I randomly chose size 12, thinking that I'll be about that big. And there you see, there we go. That was the issue. I randomly chose a size, and I shouldn't have chosen size 12. I should have chosen about size 8, 9. It's that much bigger on me. Now, I don't mind it being quite big. So what happened was, this cardigan is worked in a 4-ply yarn. It works well as a fitted cardigan with little or no positive ease, or also as a more relaxed looser knit. So if you'd like a fitted cardigan, use a size with little or no positive ease. For a looser, more casual cardigan, add 5 to 10 centimetres. So I did, but I think I just went up far too big. I went up far too big. So I went up a needle size or 2. Anyway, I'm using the most beautiful yarn as well, and it's just glorious. So I am using Eden Cottage yarn. Have I got any of the ball bands in here? Yes. Eden Cottage yarns, which again is an indie dyer. And I am using Oakworth 4-ply, which is 100% New Zealand Polwarth wool, which is softish, but not as soft as the other thing. It's it will soak, after it's soaked, it will soften a little. But I think you quite happily wear it against the skin and it'll be fine. Yeah, it's just too big. I'm using 3 colours. I'm using Hedgerow, which is this one, the main colour, Hedgerow. I'm using Vintage Rose, which is this one, for the puddy cats. Let me show you the right way up so you can see the pussy cats, the sinister cats. And I'm using Clementis, which is this one. So they're all, so it's the 3 different shades of the same wool, so that then I knew they'd work well together. I was doing colour work, but I didn't go up a needle size with the colour work because I thought it would be fine, and actually I'm still think it will be. I'm quite neat floats, a little bit gathered there, quite neat. It's showing, you can see my increases a little bit, but once this was blocked, it would flatten out quite nicely. You do it in the round, so it's all knit stitches in the round, and then you steek it, which means cut. So you reinforce along the sides of your steek, which is in the centre, and then you cut it, and then you add a button band. First time ever doing steeking, so I was a bit nervous about that, but that's fine. I was doing it no problem. You can see where you do it. It's just huge. And I got to this point and I had for about that much been thinking, when I was doing this, I was thinking, this is big. This is big. My shoulders really that big? Are they? And then I started doing the cats, really loved it, absolutely loved it, but was thinking, really, that's quite big. That's quite big. And then when I started doing this, and then basically it's however far you want, to whatever length you want, just keep going down. And I thought to myself, this looks huge. So I put it on waste yarn, basically. So I got some yarn, put all the stitches, and the stitches are still here live. Ooh. Still attached to the ball band, still attached to the balls. And then I tried it on, and as I was trying it on, oh, my little face, I'm not going to show it to you, but I just thought, I'm so glad I tried it on now before I got to the end of it. So I'm going to rip back. I'm going to take the whole thing up. I'm going to just frog it. I'm going to rib it. The reason it's called frogging is because you rib it. Rib it, rib it, rib it. I am going to put it all back. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to have to soak the yarn to get the kinks out. I think I might do. I'm going to have to see. But I'm going to pull the whole lot back. Put it aside for a little while and come back to it when I'm not feeling so traumatised about it. I'm actually not feeling terribly sad. I was when I first put it away, and it shows that putting it away for a bit, look, I got cat pinned with it, shows that if you put it away for a while, you get to the point where it'll be fine. And I know eventually I really enjoyed the process up until that point. So I feel that if I come back to it, it will be easier because I'll know exactly what I'm supposed to be looking for. And I really like the cat design, and I think eventually it will be lovely, and I think the colours will really suit me. I was slightly worried about whether the colours would suit me because I wear a lot of dark shades. And I was thinking, it's a bit of a leap into the unknown for me to wear, particularly that colour. But actually, not too bad. I'm quite pasty at the moment. How are you finding the weather? If you're in the northern hemisphere, we're in the depth of winter. It was cold today. It's supposed to be getting snow. I'm not sure we will. I live just kind of 10 miles north of Cambridge, which is in the east of England, but we're in the south of the east of England. So we get very mild weather here, compared to the majority of the country, because the weather has to if it's coming from the west, it has to go through the whole of the country before it gets to us, or the north has to go. So it kind of dilutes it a little bit. It's only if it comes from the east that we really get the brunt of it. And I don't think it's turned to the east at the moment. If it does, then we will get snow. But we have had snow forecast a little bit today. I don't think we will. It's quite bright outside. I don't think we will. Much to Benedict, my 10-year-old son's disappointment. He would love it. So yes, I was a bit worried about the brown, especially because I'm in my winter pale. I catch the sun very easily, but I'm in winter pale, and I wondered with the hair colour. But I think it will look quite nice. I think I'm liking the look of that, and of course I can layer it over things. But now I've shown you it, I'm going to rip it back. I'm going to frog it, put it aside, maybe soak the yarn if it needs to get rid of the kinks, and I will pick this up. If I pick it up later in the year, then I'll be able to have it for winter. I don't know. We'll see how I go. See when I feel brave enough to come back to it. But using the yarn was lovely. The pattern was lovely. It was my own. It was completely user error. Completely user error. So this is the bag that it's in. Very cute, cat themed. So yeah, so what I decided, so what happened was I did this, got to the point and I got very disgruntled with myself because I just thought it's your own stupid fault, woman, for not checking your measurements. why didn't you do that? So I thought, well, I know what I'll do. I'll knit something that's quicker to knit, is not so much, kind of time investment. Use some nice wool, but not, and something that doesn't worry about the size, and see what exactly what your measurements should be. And so that's why I've picked up the vest top, the tank top. And see, now I'm worried that that's going to be too big. But you never know, do you? Sometimes it's, I've got more faith in this one. And actually, if it is big, it won't be an issue. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Honestly. So, there we go. What I'm also planning, how long am I doing? Yeah. What I'm also planning on doing is I'm going to do, probably about this time in the podcast, I will, in the knit club, Tuesday knit group, I will use my other laptop, which is fine, and I will look at the comments from the previous episode, and so that you can tell me the previous week, so I can talk back to you, so we can have a conversation. So if you want to leave any comments, that would be lovely. And if you enjoyed it and think this is going to be a good idea, that would be lovely if you could give me a thumbs up. But if you do want to leave a comment, then that would be lovely, because next Tuesday when I'm recording, I'll bring my laptop over and I will have a read through what you're saying. I mean, I read through anyway as they come in. As they come in, I always read all the comments, but I shall read through here looking as well. And so if you ask me any questions, I can respond. I can talk to you, and so you'll be able to hear the response to your questions and know that I am here chatting away. So let me show you some new stuff. If you're into new stuff at all, I don't know whether you are you? Let me show you one or two new bits. I'm not going to go through all the new bits that I've got, but I will show you this because it's lovely. And if you watch any knitting stuff, and I'm going to show my chum this tomorrow. Look. Oh, I've got one of my hairs on it. Everything has one of my hairs on it. If when you leave you go, what's this long blonde hair? It'll be one of my hairs. Look at this. And it is, can you see the little sheep? It's a sheep fly. Oh, it's not a butterfly, it's a sheep fly. Look at that. So this is Cozy Posy Yarn Co. Dream in Wool. And can you see what that says? It's the Grocery Girls one. So they did a yarn, they did a kind of pack. I would never, I don't normally buy from, I mean, I have got some designer wool and everything like that, but it's really going to have to stop. But I would never normally do kind of collaborations like that. But I saw this, and it's the Grocery Girls, who I think are brilliant. And I love their podcast. And they were doing a collaboration with various people for like a Christmas kit. And it came with this bag, which is it was a brilliant bag for keeping your wool in so that you can see what you're working on. And it's got that Christmas logo. And it came with, there we are, Sockmas 2018 Candy Cane Graffiti. It came with the bag, the 100 grams of candy cane graffiti on Soft and Cozy, plus 20 grams of frosted cranberry on glitter. So that's a sock set if you want it. One limited edition Grocery Girls hot pink acrylic Grocery Girl stitch marker. Move my hair. And a toffee recipe, which I'm not going to be baking, but yeah, that they wrote and suggested that you could use it. So look at that. So I got this, and I thought, they were saying about it, and I thought, I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to get that. And I thought I could buy myself a little Christmas present because it was in December. And I thought I'm never going to get it because I'm watching this a couple of days late and they will have sold out. And I thought, oh, I'll just check. So I checked on Etsy and they had some. And I reckon I must have got one of the last ones. And so I did get it. And it took about 3 weeks. No, not even that long to get to me. I was so chuffed. It was my Christmas present to myself. And so I've got this magnificent yarn. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Well, that's not completely true. I have a little idea what I'm going to do with it. But it's lovely. And that's a complete treat, and that's probably the last time I'm going to be doing something like that. I've also got in here a whole thing of gorgeousness, which was my Advent, Minis Advent calendar from Beehive Yarns. Now, I'm a huge fan of Beehive Yarns. Really do love her. I have made quite a few things with her yarn, and she did this most glorious. Oh, it's got a code on it. Let's not do that. Beehive Yarns. She did this gorgeous thing, and she said, "Oh, it's there we are. It came with a stitch marker. Isn't it lovely?" And I ordered it when she first said it in kind of like October, maybe even earlier than that. And I forgot about it. And then it came, and it was 12 days, and they're 12 minis, which are 20 grams each. So I've got 240 grams, and I've actually put the names on. Hot, hot, hot chocolate. I put the names on each mini as I opened them. This is called Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. It was really lovely. I don't know whether I would do it again, just because I don't really use minis. But I've got all these minis in here. I'm not really sure what to do with. I considered actually doing a blanket of some kind, or at least starting a blanket of some kind. Let me see which is my favourite day. I do like that one. Hot, hot chocolate. I do like that. I like that one, and I like that one. I liked all of them. Under the Influence of Butterbeer. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, I like that kind of, those kind of shades. Those together. They're lovely. So as I opened them, I put them out and I put them in that bag and what have you. So that was really lovely. Yes, I'm not sure I'll do it again. I really enjoyed opening a little parcel every day. That was really lovely. And perhaps I would do a swap with somebody rather than buy one, because they are expensive. But again, I'm not sure what I would do with all the minis. I don't use minis like that. I did consider perhaps crocheting them into something, and maybe that's something I might do. We'll see as the weeks go by whether I'm inspired, what I'm inspired. I've always got things that I'm thinking I might do, but I never do. One of the things I am going to do is a kimono that came out called Sweet Home. It's a formula, it's a knitting formula. So it's not a pattern, so you kind of do it together, but she shows you how to put it together by Tina Say Knits, I think it is. I bought the pattern and it's a knitting formula. And I asked her husband to print it out, but he couldn't print it out. And that's patches. It makes a big kimono. So rather than it being completely random, I'm going to choose a colour palette, and I wanted greys and blacks and then some hot colours, and you do it in DK or holding fingering weight yarn double. So I haven't got a lot of DK. I've got acrylic DK, but I don't want to use that. I want to use wool. So I want it to be either Blue Face Leicester, or I want it to be wool, really. So I have got skeins of fingering weight that I haven't known what to do with, or singles I've not known what to do with. So I could hold them double hold then double and use those. So that might be good for using up those. That's Molly coming downstairs. And then I ordered these two from Amy from Stranded Dye Works as a kind of last hurrah of things that I'm going to buy. So these are both, I thought this was going to be greyer than it actually is, but this is Metalsome on Superwash BFL DK. It's lovely, isn't it? And this is Gloom, which is lovely on her DK base. It's lovely. So yeah, so those two will be both pretty wonderfully hard earning. So they actually work really well together, and that's the idea of me getting them together. So the idea is that I'd put them together with hotter colours. But I would do a palette. Hello, pussycat. Maybe the red. That looks nice with it. So it would be something like that. I'm going to take this out. Oh, look at that. Whoa. So yeah, so maybe it's something like that. I put that, if I held that double, I could put some colours of that in it. And blacks as well. I want it to be, the picture that she shows is all those kind of colours. It's blacks and greys and reds with like pops of colour. So that's what I like, the idea of doing something maybe something like that. Did I get a red from? No, not really. Not really. Could I put brown in there? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that might be too different. No. Anyway, it literally is like we're just sat here together. And this was, I'm going to show you this because she's coming tomorrow. This was my chum who bought me this. I have no idea what I'm going to use this for, but it is gorgeous. It's Under the Olive Tree. Inspire Your Needles. And the lady that dyes these lives in Huntingdon, which is about 3 miles away from me. And she makes the most beautiful wool. So look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is 80% extra fine merino and 20% silk lace weight yarn. I am tropical twilight-ish. So it sounds like a bit of a dye era. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. So I have no idea what I'm going to use this for. I have got a lot though. Don't know how many yards it is. It's 100 grams. But I mean, that is going to go a long way. It is beautiful. It's so soft. It is so soft. Here you are. I'll pass it to you. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? Yeah, I know. Do you want it? No, you can't have it, mate. So yeah, so that's where I've been. I've got that in my bag. My bags of delight. My bag of delight that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this stuff. I'm going to sneeze. Got tissue behind me. Excuse me, 1 minute. Oh no, I haven't got tissues there. Tissue in my pocket. Just getting over a cold. Started this weekend. I felt a bit funny on Friday, not too bad. Friday night I started to feel a bit rough. Excuse me. And then Saturday, I had a horrible night Friday night. You know that, a lot of it going around, but it just felt feverish. I felt horrible, couldn't get out of my dreams. And then Saturday I woke up and I just felt rough. But luckily we had nothing on this weekend. And my body just went, right, don't do anything. And so the husband looked after me the whole weekend and it was lovely. It's fine now. So my plan was, I'd got a new coat last week and my plan was to go out in my new coat on Saturday and Sunday and I couldn't because I was a poor girl. But I have been out in my new coat since. It's Tuesday today, I went out in my new coat, taking the cat to the vets to have his booster. So yeah, that was that. So I am still getting over a little bit of something, but it's fine. Oops, no stud. Well, I had a cold over Christmas, really like full on cold. First cold with a no stud. Yeah, that's not fun. Don't tell you about that, do they? Don't tell you about that when you're having your nose done. But it was fun. Anyway, there we go. there we go, YouTube. I think I'm gonna love you and leave you here just under an hour. I'm probably going to carry on with my knitting actually in this bag. I got one of these linen bags sent free, so I use it for some of my larger project bags. I must make some larger project bags. That would be good. So yes, I think I shall sit and knit that. I shall pop you back up upstairs. I think I can tidy this away now, actually. And that's it. That's it. So please tell me in the comments if you've enjoyed this, if you've been able just to sit back and enjoy it, and enjoy the knitting chat, and the new style suits. I hope so. I hope you feel included in this. It'd be really nice if I get some comments, then I can chat to you, read that kind of stuff, and we will sink into this. We will eventually get into it, and we will know what the format's going to be for us. What works for us might not be what works for everybody else. It's all about us, you see, as our group, as we get together, as more people come along. More cats come along. Hello, Miss Molly. You're going to come and say hello? She's so irritable. No, she won't. I don't think so. I don't think so. No. It would be really nice if you came along, because lots of knitters like cats. No, she flicked her tail at me then. It was a definite. That's what I think of you. Okay, right. I'm losing the plot a little bit. Let's go. Well, this has been lovely. Sorry that you're having to go now. Not really. And we shall do the same again this time next week. What do you think? I'll see you again.